Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. Now, what has happened? Ha. Supreme Court yesterday constituted a special investigation team to conduct an inquiry into the affairs of Vantara, which is a wildlife rescue and rehabilitation center launched by Reliance Industries and Reliance Foundation in Gujarat's Jamnagar. Now, former Supreme Court Judge Justice J. Chelameswar will head the SIT that will examine various issues, including the acquisition of animals from India and abroad, particularly elephants, and ascertain whether the center complies with the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 and also the rules for the zoos. Now, the other SIT members are former Chief Justice of Uttarakhand and Telangana High Courts, Justice Raghavendra Chauhan, former Mumbai Police Commissioner Hemant Nagrale, and Additional Commissioner of Customs Anish Gupta. Now, the panel has been told to conduct an inquiry and submit a report to the top court by 12th of September after studying the concerns highlighted in the order. Now, the order by a bench of Justices Pankaj Mittal and P.B. Varale came down on two PILs. In fact, there were two PILs which are filed, and on that, this particular order of the SIT has come in. Now, these two PILs, one was filed by lawyer C.R. Jayasukin and the other one by a petitioner as Dev Verma. Now, these were filed in the wake of shifting of an elephant named Mahadevi from a temple in Kolhapur to Vantara in July. That's when this petition was filed. And notably, the SIT's report, the court explained, will be a fact-finding inquiry that will assist the court to ascertain the true factual position to enable the court to pass any further orders. Now, the court obviously has opted for the formation of an SIT because both the petitions, it noted, are based on news reports and stories on various social media platforms. Now, what has the order said? That is very important. The order said, and I'm going to quote, upon the readings of the pleadings, we find that what has been presented through these petitions are only allegations with no material of probative worth. There appears to be no supporting material. This is what the court said. And then they said, considering the sweep of the allegations made in the petitions, inviting a counter from the private respondent or any other party will not serve much purpose. So this is how they have chosen to form the SIT. Now, what are generally the allegations? The one, of course, was the issue of the elephant. The other is that various rules have been flouted. Now, have the rules been flouted? That's something which now the SIT will find out. We'll begin this discussion. Joining me this evening is Ajay Suri, who's a wildlife expert and also a filmmaker. Thank you so much, Ajay, for joining. We have Jivesh Gupta, who's an environmentalist and the author of the book called Green Day. Thank you so much, Jivesh, for joining. We have Girish Joshi, veteran journalist and political commentator, joining us from Gujarat. And I'll begin with Girish today. Girish, what do you make of this decision of whatever rules or whatever violations have happened, allegedly according to the petitions which have been filed, the two petitions? What do you think is the problem, and why do you think the Supreme Court thought of forming an SIT over this issue?
Well, first thing we will have to see is what is the intention and what is the timing of this PIL. First, you have to understand who is the advocate who has filed the case, the petition. He is the same advocate who had filed petition against R.N. Ravi, governor of Tamil Nadu, when he walked away without standing for the national anthem. So you can understand that pocket of that where is coming. Now, secondly, if you see, this case is not specifically against Vantara. And as the narratives have been sent across, that is only one more diverging tactics from what Rahul Gandhi and these people are doing. Because since 6th, you see every day you get some new material to discuss to keep away what is happening in EC and what is happening with Rahul Gandhi's Padyatra. Now, if you're coming to the matter, what exactly we had discussed even during inception when we made a program on that this is a green zoological rescue and rehabilitation center. This is not a zoo. This is not a park. This is not a national park like where they've just brought and left them alone. And that day we had clearly seen that when Modi went there, What he highlighted is that an incubator there, so that when the cubs come in, how they are going to treat them, and these all have come under MOUs that they have been sent there because what their agreement is, what formation says is animal rescue and care and conservation, distressed, injured, and abandoned animals, medical care, release, and long-term care. 2000 animals. Now, this is not the first time. There are so many parks. Ranthambore, you have national park. You have a lot of animals there. You have in Savai Madhapur, Rajasthan. Then you have got Bengal tigers. Then comparing to that, this is not an separated incident. You see, Thailand, Costa Rica, Queensland, Australia, Kenya, China. Everybody has that. And the worst part of is that when these are coming, and I can read you out that this how the court has passed an order. The first thing that you clarified, the petitioner are not confined to asking allegations against the private respondent Vantara. This is the first thing. And secondly, if you see, uh, the Director General Forest, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change shall be responsible to provide all the assistance for the travel, lodging and logistically arrangements and secretarial support to the SIT. So they are going to check up everything, and now we hope that this will continue along with the cheetahs, that 20 cheetahs which were brought from 8 from Namibia and 12 from South Africa. What is happening to that? So this should also be a cover up with the SIT. SIT should look after this. So whether this is for Vantara or in future for the Prime Minister, who very boldly advertised that he brought the cheetahs, out of them 7 died. What is happening to the rest, nobody knows, and they are not fit to that environment. So obviously,
Right.
SIT is going to check that also. So let us wait and see after the final report comes that who is the scapegoat in this. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So, of course, the SIT report has to be submitted by 12th of September. But I'll come to you,
Yes.
Ajay, now. That, this whole issue about how animals have been transported from one place to the other. There are also reports that there are a lot of exotic animals which have been flown down from some few countries. But as a wildlife expert, and the way this hospital has been brought up, and the visuals are really nice to see that the animals are seen in such a wonderful environment. They are being catered into, they're being tended. What do you feel as a wildlife expert? Do you think that there are some violations, or you feel that animals do need this kind of a care and attention? Yes, Ajay.
Of course, they do need not only this, they need more such rescue centers. And I would broadly, agree with the initial remarks of Mr. Girish.
Ajay, if you
And
could speak a little louder, your
yeah, yeah,
voice is,
okay.
yeah.
So what I'm saying is, as a wildlife activist, as a filmmaker who has been very close to nature, say many a times, say 10, 15 days a month I'm in the forest, and when I see animals in distress, I always think, "Ki, how
Ajay, if you
can
can just check your audio.
okay,
Ajay, if you can just check your audio.
yeah,
I guess,
just give me a sec.
huh. Yeah, hold your
Is
mic
it okay?
closely. You hold your
Okay.
mic near you, then I think the audio will be fine. Yes. Yeah.
I personally believe, Neelu, that there should be more such rescue and rehabilitation centers all over India. You know,
Okay.
in northern India, if I recall by memory, there is this SOS for elephants in Agra. There used to be one bird hospital in Delhi that was near Red Fort. I don't even know whether it exists now or not. I'm looking at this thing strictly from the point of view of the poor elephant Mahadevi, who for 36 years was kept in chains in that temple. She was put to commercial use. She was put to all kind of abuses. And let me read you 2 lines from data, which submitted, in court. This is People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. And how did they describe this elephant? After which the court ordered that this elephant has to be transferred, to Vantara. Now it says that this particular elephant, Mahadevi, also known as Madhuri, she was suffering from advanced foot rot, ulcerated wounds, overgrown toenails, and displayed signs of psychological distress. And don't forget another thing, that what I've read from newspapers is that one of the petitioners is actually arguing for the temple. So basically, it's the temple which wants an elephant back. So instead of doing that, it's throwing whole kind of mud on the Vantara. See, I'm not an advocate for Vantara. I hold no brief for Vantara, but I do hope that this SIT will open a door, not just for cheetahs thing, which Mr. Girish mentioned, but also for hundreds of other elephants, which are living a dismal life in hundreds of temples in South India. Not only that, there are private elephant camps which I have seen in Assam around
Right.
Kaziranga where elephants are mistreated. So I hope SIT will formulate. It will help the government to formulate some kind of guidelines which we are sorely lacking now.
Right.
This is how I
Okay.
see the picture.
Right. No, that's an important point, and you cannot dismiss that there are a large number of elephants across the country who are staying in temples in abysmal
Right.
conditions, and they do need hospitals. But Ajay, one more point, and then I'll come to Jivesh. That there is also a point where people are saying, and all the animal rights groups, conservationists, investigative journalists, they have questioned the origins of several species who have been brought into the sanctuary, and they have alleged that uh, you know, uh, this kind of a sourcing of animals, it incentivizes the illegal capture of exotic wildlife, and which undermines the international conservation efforts. What would you say to that, Ajay? Yes.
I really don't know. We have the laws in place, and in the last for the last many years, anti-poaching laws have been strengthened in India. But what you are saying is, bringing exotic animals. I'll give you a very small example. It's illegal to keep Indian birds and animals as pets. But if you go to Indian markets, if you go to Noida, if you go to South Delhi or anywhere, you'll find a lot of exotic birds on sale. And ironically, these birds are allowed. They are allowed by law, but not the Indian birds. So this is a very strange kind of law, and probably people are making use of this loophole in the law.
Hmm. Okay. So I'll come to Jivesh now. Jivesh, how do you see this whole issue now that you're also an environmentalist? According to you, do you see any violations? Though I'll tell you that the Ambanis have released a statement saying that they will comply by all the laws. They have, in fact, welcomed the constitution of the special investigation team. But according to you, how do you really view this issue? And do you feel that there have been violations? Because violations, in the sense, as I was talking about, capturing or incentivizing the capture of the animals from other countries, undermining the conservation efforts. And do you see any violations of any kind of laws or guidelines which have taken place?
I think, Neelu, I would take this very positively. The setting of the SIT, as Girishji and Ajayji said, the only concern is that the SIT does the work impartially and for the welfare of the animals. That is my first point. Secondly, I was a part of a case wherein we were fighting for the Delhi's deer park, which is also a very old deer sanctuary in Delhi. And we managed
Yes.
to save it from the DDA because DDA was wanting to shift the deers from the deer park, saying that the population is very high. In that case, I got a chance to see the rules zoological has formed because zoological also said that DDA is not following the norms of the zoological department, wherein the zoo has to be maintained in a certain way. Wherever animals are kept, there has to be certain rules which have to be followed. And I think 80 to 90% of the rules DDA was not following. And the reason was simple that they did not want to follow the rules because so that they become someone who's not following the rules and the court says, okay, DDA cannot maintain it, close it. That is what DDA wanted. But we said that these rules are not so difficult. It requires some technical expertise, but something are very simple to do. In terms of construction, design, and everything, you can easily do it. And the court actually told them that follow the rules and guidelines, maintain the deers, and if we feel that the population is getting beyond a point, then move certain number of deers outside. You can't be closing the deer park or be looking at closing the deer park. So in that case, so now when this SIT has been formed, I'm 100% sure there will be some irregularities because it is a big Bible of rules which zoological has set for the rights of the animals and for their maintenance or keeping them in a certain closed enclosure or closed area.
No,
So
but
I think
according to you, what are the clear violations which you see? I mean, which you can make out. At one glance, what kind of violations you feel have happened here at
I think
Vantara?
the movement of animals from one place to the other is the biggest concern area here. And now that they're talking about the elephant, which was lying in chains in the temple and was rescued from there, I think it has to study that whether it was the reason was only the rescue and how the elephant was moved from there. And the animal being moved from all over the world, whether the guidelines of flora and fauna and the guidelines of wildlife are being followed or not. So
No,
my
but why do we assume that such a big group like Reliance would be flouting the rules glaringly, and they will bring in animals from all across the world? I'm sure they would be equally conscious about the rules or laws. Or you feel that maybe
that is
some
what I
rules
said.
have been.
That is what I said. The rules, the list of rules are very long. So, and according to me, being an activist, 100% all rules should be followed, whether it is the trees, whether it is the animals. But I'm sure that there will be some missing links there, and the SIT will bring them out, and we'll see a improved version of Vantara. And as Ajay said, more such Vantaras have to be set up all over the country, and we should not just animals, we should also look at the trees and the forest cover of the country, which is going down drastically. That also has to be looked into. So this should not be one investigation into 1.001% of the forest cover of the country, 0.00001%. This is very small. India has a huge forest cover and huge number of animals which are living in those forests. So we need to look into that. So the SIT has to take a larger area cover, and this has to be a historical decision which has to come out favoring animals and the forest.
Okay, okay. Girishi, I'll come to you now. They've also, what Jivesh is saying, that the SIT should look at the larger picture. Now, another bit which we have read across news platforms is that, that land almost is a refinery land. And can there be a zoo or a hospital for animals on that land? That also is something which is being disputed, and various activists have pointed that out. What do you have to say? You've been you are in Gujarat already. What have the papers reported over there? What is the kind of murmur you hear from there? Just unmute yourself, Girish. Yeah. You'll have to unmute, Girish. You're still muted. Yeah.
From there, I have unmuted already.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead,
Okay.
please.
We have just looked at this refinery coming up, and we know what the thing. Now, basically, first thing you see is there is a carbon credit gaining capacity they have to do once they are into refineries or cement companies or something. So for that carbon credit, they have to plant the trees. These, I think, two experts will be able to tell you what is the norm for that. I talk to you in a general term. Now that land which he had, if you remember, Asia's biggest mango farm is being cultivated by Reliance Group in Jamnagar. They are the biggest exporters of mango. So even they have the green belt there. Secondly, that land has not been donated by Gujarat government or anybody. He has purchased that for 2,200 crores. So now the allegation political that comes into that land is worth 1 lakh crore and he purchased for 2,200 crore. This is something exactly what happened in 2G. You cannot anticipate at a rate where there is no other occupation there. How do you arrive to that amount? So allegations on purchasing of land and valuation is always disputable. So first thing is he has purchased the land, he is doing that, and there are no animals in captivity there. When you go there, you are being monitored, you stay in a confined place and you watch in natural habitat the animals moving around. So bird sanctuary. But to contrary, I can tell you from this platform that you have to study all the case from the place where I belong to. There is a Kutch Desert Wildlife Sanctuary, 7,500 kilometers, and that is for specially for the flamingos that fly all the way from Russia to Kutch. That is their breeding ground. And these are for many years this is going on. Suddenly, the land mafias come there, the coal mafias come there, the salt mafias come there, and there is a lot of dispute. Even there have been cases of murders after that allegations. So that land has been so vulnerable. Now who goes there and does that? So I hope SIT should also visit that place and because National Tiger Conservative Authority had also once reported that. Many NGOs are going there and reporting because flamingos is the only place, and that is a, we get a lot of tourists to look at that place. So it is not only violation that is going on here. There are lot many places, and SIT is seriously going to do that. But I think the one condition which court has put, that they can ask for an extension. So we hope they sincerely work and take their own time to then both the panelists have rightly said that we still need many more Vantaras looking at the plate of the animal. If Supreme Court can hear the plea of dogs, I think this is much a serious matter, and endangered species for them, they should do something.
Right. But Ajay, I'll come to you now to look at the larger framework and why the SIT has been formed. That is also very important because if you look at Vantara's case, there is, of course, the wildlife imports, the private conservation facilities in India, how they should be kept, and how the animals should enter. That is one issue. Then, of course, the complex debate, on the legality, ethics, religion, environmental protection. Do you think that SIT will be able to do justice on all these prospects, which are there now under radar?
Needu, I'm looking much beyond this. I'm actually hoping, fervently hoping, that this SIT will open the door to proper guidelines of how we treat our animals, how we look at our wildlife. I've got some very radical ideas. First of all, I don't believe that they should
If
be
you can
used.
hold your mic a little closer,
Yeah,
Ajay, I think the audio will be
yeah,
better.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is this: I hope that this SIT, paves the way to formulate guidelines for the welfare of all the animals, not just elephants, all over India, not just in the temples. So this is very important. If this kind of SOP is formed, because first of all, I don't even believe that there should be. This is a radical belief I have, and many people actually share it, that there should be no place for zoos on this earth. Zoo is like a prison. Now, what is a prison used for in the city? It's used for hardened criminals.
No, but would you qualify
Yeah,
Vantara as a zoo, or you will call it as a rehabilitation center? That is also another
that
debate
that
because the
that's
Central
that's
Zoo
what.
Authority
No, no,
says
no.
that
Just
there's nothing like a zoo. It's not qualified as a zoo. Yes,
just bear with me for half a minute. I'll tell you.
yes.
I'm actually going in the same direction. So right now, just as you have humans in the prison, what you are doing is you are keeping all kind of free animals in the zoo, whereas the zoo should only be used, say, to house man-eating tigers, rogue elephants, and animals which are in distress. Let's say there is an injured deer or an injured bear in the forest, that animal can be taken out. Then that zoo should actually be called a rescue center come zoo. Let me tell you, I mean, this is actually an ideal picture. This is the holistic approach which
No, but
I
as
believe
far
is
as the
really required.
nomenclature is concerned, Ajay, do you see anything, misplaced as far as the nomenclature is concerned? You said that it should be a zoo. Along with that, it should be a rehabilitation center. So, have they gone wrong there? That people are not able to qualify whether it's a zoo or a rescue or a rehabilitation center, though their
See,
board calls it.
Nilu, I'm not a government official, nor am I a part of any panel. So I really don't know. What I know is what I read in the media. So it is called, this place in Jamnagar is called Rescue and Rehabilitation Center. So I'll go with that. So it cannot be zoo, because zoo is not private per se. A zoo is a place where public is allowed. So obviously here public is not allowed to. It is not a zoo in the normal sense. No, it's not a zoo. But I see, Nilu, I see lot of abuse being, there's a lot of animals are being put to so much of abuse, even in the zoos. Let me give you a very small example. In the Delhi Zoo for the last 15 years, there is a male African elephant. For the 15 years, the zoo authorities have been trying to get a female for that elephant, and they have not succeeded. And because of this male elephant, it is going through a lot of stress. So we are actually committing crimes on animals, even inside the zoos.
if we go by your take, then which means that Anant Ambani is doing a generous job by saving and rescuing so many animals, and not only from India but across the world. So why is he facing so much of flack, for doing a job which is so benevolent? Ajay, one
I'll tell
take
you,
from you,
because,
and then I'll come to Jivesh.
yeah,
Yes.
I'll tell you. See, the answer is hidden in your question. See, there are so many vested interests. For instance, this temple in Kolhapur, which wants the elephant back, because that elephant is a prima donna for them. It's a
Yes.
showpiece for the temple. And similarly, in so many other temples all over India, these elephants, they act like showpieces. They're so important. So this whole thing has become politicized because of these vested interests who do not want the court to interfere in the kind of abuses they have been putting to these elephants all these years. They don't want the new thinking to come. They don't want radical steps to be taken so that these animals can be freed and they should be allowed to live a free life. And Baba,
Right.
they were born free, they should die free.
True, that's true. Okay, so Jivesh, and I'll take the concluding comments from you and Girish. So, as the SIT now steps up its work, they have to submit the report by 12th. But the little time they have, do you think these today is already 26th? So, about 5 days and then another 11 days over there. So, 15, 16 days. Do you think is it enough to investigate all the allegations which have come up? And people have been saying many things. Sweeping allegations have been made against the Vantara, saying that they've imported animals without following guidelines. Some of we also came across a letter a few months ago which said that they are trading animal parts. They could be trading animal parts. So how does one ensure all of that? So all these things have to be considered. Do you think that 15, 16 days time is enough to investigate a broad ambit of the investigation?
I think one thing we have to understand is that our legal system and the cases in the past, some beautiful judgments have been given already. So we already have a lot of investigations carried on in similar cases, which have been which with the judges or the police commissioner retired, they all have at their hand. So if a genuine investigation has to be carried out, I think the time is enough. Look at the plethora of cases. I work very closely with Padam Shri Mr. MC Mehta, and I'm also working on his biography. And if you go through his cases, only his cases, leave aside anyone else, only his cases, you will understand that on environment and wildlife, the Supreme Court has given some beautiful judgments. So we already have a huge plethora of knowledge, okay, which has been created, and there's unlimited. So from that, if you draw from that, there are already some analysis which has been done time and again. Now I think it is the time to implement that. So now when you say that it has to carry out investigation, I think they're going and seeing there what is happening, going into the past judgment which have been given, and just implementing them. I think the most important part today in the legal system, whether animals or humans or trees, is the implementation of the cases. Passing a judgment, some amazing judgments have been passed out. So now the SIT has to ensure that this gets implemented, whatever they find out, whatever irregularities are there. I think that is my biggest concern.
All right. So, Girish, what would you really, how would you like to summarize this whole issue around the legality, ethics, religious considerations, social conventions? What would you really say now? You'll have to unmute. Girish, you're muted. Yeah.
This is just an diversion tactics. First thing is that because you see from 7th, as the things are coming up, CBI raiding Anil Ambani, then again raid on Bhardwaj. Now that is over. So now SIT going to Vantara. First thing is that is not specific, but in short, I can tell you that SIT should also investigate when PM visited Namibia and South Africa and they signed an MOU that was under Cheetah Conservation Fund. So they should also inquire what happened to that fund. If that fund was sufficient, how did the 12 cheetahs died out of 20? So this also should be investigated and put on record, because I think both experts may correct me if I'm wrong, that I was reading somewhere that there are some thumb rules. If you bring cheetah, he needs 100 square kilometer per cheetah to survive there and particular environment. Now that was not there in your Konu National Park in Madhya Pradesh. But because Madhya Pradesh election was on the head, you tried to do that. So if this is a political gimmicks, then there should be also a criminal offense taken against the people who took them there. Now, how do you bring it back to Vantara? So
Right. But
I
do
think
you
a lot
see,
of,
but Girish, do you
yeah.
see the possibility of a criminal offense there as far as Vantara's case is concerned?
No, how can you tell a criminal offense? They are not kept in captivity. They are not doing anything wrong. That's what I gave you the case. What is happening in Kutch Desert Wildlife Sanctuary, the birds are dying because the high tension wires of Adani Power and Tata Powers are moving from that area. They die. They had objected that these towers cannot work. So that is the criminal part of it. Here you don't have the complaint. And as they said that GZRRC, that they have sent that it is Greens Zoological Rescue and Rehabilitation Center, if that has come under a medical agreement that they are going to be treated and sent back or not sent back, that is how is under what category do you take this as an offense? There is no
Right.
criminal angle in this.
Right. So one last question before I'm going to wind up, Girish, that could there be a possibility of a politically motivated petition which has been filed in the Supreme Court? And of course, now, because there are questions on the central authorities, because there are questions on the institutions, and which is why the court chose to constitute an SIT. So is there a possibility that this could also be politically motivated?
I don't see any other angle out of it. No other
Okay.
angle. You already have a National Tiger Conservation Authority. Where are these authorities and what are they doing? The SIT should first call them and question what were they doing the part of. So this is just a political and nothing out of it. Even when Vantara, when he did that, there was a lot of hue and cry. Even we discussed. So when you want to disturb somebody, you can create anything out of it. But ultimately it will be 0-0 because SIT is also, they have just said that it's not particularly for Vantara. So they might be also going to other things and they will look into other aspects also where we will wait for that report.
Right. Okay, so the SIT has to submit its report by 12th of September, and we'll see if any extensions happen. And if they don't, then apparently we will have the report ready by 12th of September when it's going to be submitted to the Supreme Court. So we'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, Girish Joshi, Ajay Suri, Jivesh Gupta, and one appeal to all the three guests, because immediately after this, we are holding a short Hindi discussion on the Hindi platform of Federal, that is Federal Desh. And if you can join that, I'll send you the links, and please join the Hindi discussion as well. Thank you so much. Thank you.